Turning 70 wasn't something I was exactly hyped about. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm grateful to still be here, moving around, cooking my own meals, and keeping my mind sharp. But I wasn't expecting anything crazy. Maybe a cake, maybe a card, maybe my son pretending he remembered without his wife reminding him. But then, my grandkids rolled in like little heroes. These three showed up grinning ear to ear, like they were carrying a treasure chest. And in a way, they were. They dragged this massive, heavy box into my living room. I mean big. The kind of box you don't lift unless you ate spinach like Popeye. "Grandma Ellie, you're gonna freak out," my oldest, Mason, said, as he nearly tripped over his own shoes. And there it was, an $8,000 state-of-the-art smart TV. Crystal clear, voice-activated, curved screen, the whole deal. The kind of TV rich folks mount on walls you're scared to touch. I swear, my heart almost jumped out of my chest. "Sweethearts, what on earth did you do? We saved for months," little Ava shouted proudly. "We wanted you to have the best." I could have cried right then. Not because of the TV, but because of them. These kids with their big hearts and tiny wallets, putting everything they had into something for me. But then she walked in. My daughter-in-law, Danielle, the queen of backhanded compliments. The woman who thought smiling was optional and respect was negotiable. She glanced at the box once, then twice. Then her eyes lit up like she just found buried treasure. "Oh wow, this TV is nice, really nice." She said it in that tone that already told me she was thinking something messed up. My son, Nathan, tried to play it cool. "Yeah, Mom deserves something nice." Danielle raised an eyebrow. "Sure, but does she?" I brushed it off. It was my birthday, and honestly, I wasn't letting her ruin it. Not yet. We cut the cake, we talked, we laughed, and when the kids started hooking up the TV, I swear I caught Danielle staring at it like she was mentally redecorating her own living room. But again, I let it go. Later that night, after everyone left, I sat there staring at that shiny new screen like it was a window into heaven. I couldn't wait to try it out the next morning. Little did I know, that next morning wasn't gonna go how I expected. When I woke up, the living room felt off. Too quiet, too empty. And then I saw it. The big TV box, gone. I walked to the front door and saw something that made my blood pressure hit the moon. There was Danielle, outside, in the parking lot, shoving my $8,000 gift into the trunk of her car, talking on the phone like she was arranging a delivery. "Yeah, Mom, it's basically brand new. You're gonna love it." "No, she doesn't need it. I'll bring it right now." I swear my soul left my body for a second. She wasn't borrowing it. She wasn't asking. She was straight up giving it to her mom like it was hers. I stepped outside, calm as ever. But inside, boy, I was 2 seconds away from flipping that car over like the Hulk. I walked toward her, each step slower than the last, because I wanted her to see me coming. She turned around, froze, and her face drained like someone unplugged her emotions. "Oh, mother-in-law, you're up early. I was just, helping you." I didn't say a word. Not yet. But in that moment, I already knew. She had no idea what was coming. I stood there in that parking lot, squinting at Danielle like I was trying to see if my eyesight had finally betrayed me, because surely, That woman wasn't actually stuffing my $8,000 birthday gift into her trunk at 7 a.m. like some kind of off-brand TV thief. But no, it was real, and she was doing it boldly, like it was her birthright. She froze when she saw me, one hand still gripping the giant TV box, the other holding her phone that was still on call with her mother. She slapped it against her chest like she was hiding a dirty magazine. "Mother-in-law," she said, with that fake confused smile she uses when she knows she's up to no good. "You're up early. I didn't want to wake you." I raised an eyebrow. "Up early? Danielle, it's past 7, and you're outside moving furniture like you're running a smuggling ring." And she blinked fast. No, it's not like that." She tried to laugh it off, but even her laugh sounded guilty, like a dog barking after stealing a whole chicken. "I was just taking the TV to get it checked." "Checked?" I asked. "It's brand new." "Well, yes," she stammered, "but my mother, I mean technically you, don't need such a high-end TV. I thought we should swap it for something simpler. Something more appropriate." I stared her down for a long, slow second. "Appropriate for who?" I asked. She swallowed, hard. "Well, for you, of course." I stepped a little closer. "So why is it in your trunk and not in my living room?" Her eyes darted everywhere. The pavement, the windshield, the mailbox, the sky. Anything but my face. "Mother-in-law, you have to understand," she said finally, folding her arms like she was the one being wronged. "You don't even watch TV that much. My mom's old TV is broken, and she's been really stressed, and your grandkids are the ones who bought it for me," I said sharply. That shut her up. She shifted her weight from one foot to the other, looking like she'd rather jump into traffic than continue this conversation. "Danielle," I said calmly, "why didn't you ask me first?" She sighed dramatically, as if I was being unreasonable. "Because if I asked, you would have said no." I stared at her. "Exactly," she huffed. "Look, you don't understand. My mom really needs a new TV. She's been depressed. And think about it. What would you even do with an $8,000 screen? It's too fancy for your apartment. It's..." I cut her off right there. "Danielle," I said, lowering my voice, "you don't get to decide what's too fancy for me." She went silent. "You don't get to decide what I need or don't need. And you don't get to give away things that aren't yours." She opened her mouth, then shut it again. For a moment, there was only the sound of a bird chirping somewhere and the distant rumble of a garbage truck. Then she muttered, "Well, I didn't mean anything bad. I was trying to help." "Help who?" I asked. "Your mother or yourself?" The look on her face told me everything. And let me tell you, that look was guilty. Guilty as a toddler with chocolate smeared on their... I held up a hand. "Don't finish that sentence unless you want lightning to strike you right now." She stopped mid-breath. Good. At this point, my heart wasn't even angry anymore. It was something deeper, something tired, something disappointed. This girl had been in my family for 8 years and somehow still treated me like a debit card with legs. I looked at the TV box, sitting halfway in her trunk. Then I looked at her. "Move," I said quietly. She blinked. "What?" "Move. I'm taking my gift back." "But..." "Danielle," I said, "don't push me." She stepped aside slowly, like she suddenly remembered I raised 4 kids and survived decades of nonsense stronger than her. Now I'm 70, not 20, but I still got enough backbone to lift my own TV. but that box was heavier than a guilt-ridden conscience. I dragged it out of her trunk, grunting under my breath, while she hovered awkwardly, like she wanted to help, but also didn't want to look guilty doing so. Once it was on the ground, I caught my breath and stood up straight. She gulped. "Mother-in-law, I didn't mean to upset you. I just thought—" "Exactly," I said. "You thought about yourself." She dropped her gaze. I softened my tone, but only a little. "You listen to me, and listen well," I said. "Those kids worked hard for this. They saved. They planned. They wanted me to have something special. And you tried to steal that moment from me. But worse, you tried to steal their kindness." Her eyes filled with tears. Good. Maybe she'd finally hear me. But before she could speak, I lifted a hand again. "No excuses," I said. "No explanations, no stories. I'm disappointed, Danielle. Truly." She inhaled shakily. "Are you going to tell Nathan?" I shrugged. "Depends on what you do next." She froze. But I didn't give her time to recover, because I already knew what I was going to do. I bent down, gripped the TV box again, and started dragging it back toward my apartment. And behind me, I heard her whisper, almost like she was talking to herself. "This is gonna blow up in my face, isn't it?" Oh, she had no idea how much. Because what I did after that, it changed everything. Dragging that monster-sized TV box back to my apartment felt like I was hauling a dead elephant wrapped in cardboard. My knees cracked, my back complained, and my shoulder made a noise that sounded like a rusty door hinge. But I kept going. Danielle followed me like a guilty puppy, trailing a few steps behind, staring at the pavement as if it would magically open and swallow her whole. Good. Let the embarrassment marinate. By the time I got the box inside the building, I was breathing like I had just run a marathon. Danielle rushed up behind me, reaching out like she finally decided to grow a conscience. "Let me help." "No," I said sharply. "You've done enough." She pulled her hands back, stung. "I wasn't trying to—" "Don't," I cut her off. "Not another word." She shut her mouth so fast, I swear I heard her teeth click. We stood in the hallway for a second, both catching our breath, me from lifting, her from panicking. Her mascara was smudged, and she looked like a raccoon who'd just been yelled at by animal control. I dragged the TV box inside my apartment. Danielle hovered in the doorway like a kid waiting to see if they're grounded or expelled. Finally, I turned around. "Close the door." She did. I walked over to the kitchen, grabbed a glass of water, drank half of it, and then set the glass down slowly, very slowly, because I wanted her to feel every second of suspense. "Danielle," I said, "sit." She sat down so fast the chair squeaked. I leaned on the table and looked her dead in the eye. "Do you know," I started, "what hurts me most about this situation?" She shook her head timidly. "It's not that you tried to take the TV. It's not even that you tried to give it to your mother." Her gaze lifted a bit, hopeful. "It's that you didn't think I deserved something nice." Her face crumpled. "That's not—" "It is," I said. "Because if this were your mother, you would have guarded that box like it was the crown jewels. But because it was for me, the old lady in the simple apartment, you decided it was okay to take." Her shoulders slumped. "I messed up. I know I did." "Oh, you didn't just mess up," I said. "You tripped, rolled, crashed, and set the whole house on fire." She let out a shaky breath. Are you gonna tell Nathan? Depends. Depends on what? On whether you fix this. She blinked. Fix it? How? What do you want me to do? I crossed my arms. Tell me the truth. Why were you taking it? Really? She hesitated. Then her eyes flicked away. My mom's TV did break, she said quietly. She really has been depressed. But, she swallowed. She also asked me to take this one. I raised an eyebrow. So your mother put you up to it? She nodded. A long silence stretched between us. Then I asked, and you agreed instantly, didn't you? She didn't speak, and that was answer. She did. Come with me. Her confusion flashed, but she followed me out of the apartment, down the stairs, and back outside. We stopped right beside her car, the trunk still open, the air smelling like early morning dew and poor decision-making. Get your phone, I said. She took it out, hands trembling. Call your mother. She froze. What? Why? Because you're going to tell her the truth, I said. Not some softened version. The real story. That you tried to take something that wasn't yours because she asked you to. Her face went white. Mother-in-law, please. Phone. Dial. She swallowed, then reluctantly hit the call button. Her mother answered almost instantly. Did you get it? She asked, sounding excited. Danielle winced. No, Mom, she whispered. I didn't. Why? What happened? Danielle looked at me. I nodded once. Because it wasn't mine to take, she said. And it wasn't fair. I shouldn't have done it. There was silence for a moment. Then her mother started scolding her, voice loud enough for me to hear. Danielle, don't be naive. She doesn't need an $8,000 TV. She barely... I took the phone gently from Danielle's hand. Hello, I said calmly. This is Martha. Silence. Then a very uneasy, oh. You're right, I said. I don't need an $8,000 TV. But neither does Danielle's mother. And neither do you. My grandchildren bought this for me because they love me, not because anyone gets to redistribute it like charity. Another silence. I continued, my tone cool and steady. If your TV breaks, buy a new one. Don't teach your daughter to steal from her own family. Before she could respond, I ended the call. Danielle looked like she'd just lived through a tornado. I handed her the phone back. You handled that better than I expected, I said. She sniffed. Am I kicked out of the family? No, I said. But this is strike one. There won't be a strike two. She nodded feverishly. And now, I added, we're going to talk to the kids later. You are going to tell them you made a mistake, not me. She nodded again, harder this time. And after that, I said, you're going to apologize to your mother-in-law properly, without excuses. Tears welled up in her eyes. I will, I promise. Good, I said, because what comes next depends entirely on how you move from here. She swallowed. What comes next? I looked at the apartment behind me. At the TV inside. At the mess she caused. Then back at her. Oh, I said with a slow smile. Next, I'm about to teach this entire family a lesson they'll never forget. She blinked. A lesson? Mm-hmm, I said. A pretty big one, and she had no idea how big. After Danielle's shaking apology and that uncomfortable phone call with her mother, I hauled the TV inside and set it carefully against the wall. I could practically feel Danielle's eyes burning holes in the floor behind me. She kept twisting her fingers, like she was waiting for a judge to sentence her. Good. Actions have vibes, and hers were messy. I took a deep breath, walked into the kitchen, and turned on the kettle. Danielle just hovered, shifting her weight every 2 seconds. Finally, she broke. Mother-in-law, are you mad at me? I turned around slowly. Mad? No. Disappointed? Oh yeah, big time. She lowered her gaze. But, I added, disappointment ain't permanent. Redemption is optional, and luckily you're still in the running. She let out a shaky breath, relieved, but still tense. Sit, I told her again. She sat, hands clasped tight. I placed a cup of tea in front of her and another in front of myself. Drink. You'll need the hydration. We're about to talk. Her eyes widened, like she expected an interrogation lamp to drop from the ceiling. Danielle, I began. When you first married my son, I wanted to like you. I really did. I tried. And it wasn't easy, because you walk around with your shoulders stiff and your nose just a teensy bit too high. She looked offended, then guilty, then resigned. But I figured you were young, nervous, maybe insecure. And then the grandkids came, and for a while, I thought you were finally settling into kindness. But today, I sighed. Today you showed me something else. She swallowed. I wasn't trying to be cruel. You were, I said bluntly. Maybe you weren't trying to be, but intent doesn't erase impact. You walked into my apartment and packed up the most expensive gift my grandkids have ever given me, to give it to your mother, without asking, without thinking, without caring. She nodded slowly, shame creeping up her cheeks. You have to understand, I said, leaning forward. When people get older, the world starts treating them like they don't deserve nice things. Like luxury stops mattering to them. Like comfort is wasted on them. Her eyes softened. She hadn't thought about it that way. The words you said, I continued. You don't need one of these at your age. Danielle, that didn't come from your mouth. That came from society whispering into your ear. She stared at her tea. That being said, I added, you're still responsible for your choices. Another nod. Which brings me, I said, lifting my chin, to the next point. Her head jerked up. Next point? I said, because honey, you didn't just make a mistake. You made a statement. And the way we recover from statements, I paused for effect, is with accountability. She straightened, bracing herself. What do you want me to do? She asked. I want you, I said, to show my grandkids that adults can be wrong and can fix it. She blinked. You want me to apologize? In front of them? Yup. Her lips parted in shock. Because they saw something today, I continued. They watched you take something that wasn't yours. They watched you justify it. They watched you disrespect their gift. Her shoulders dropped. And Mia? She saw me walking back hunched over, dragging that box alone. Kids don't forget pictures like that, Danielle. Her face flushed with shame. And besides, I added, you're raising my grandchildren. Kids learn how to treat others by watching their parents. I'm not about to let them learn entitlement from you. She nodded firmly this time. I'll do it, she said. I'll apologize. All of it. Honestly. Good, I said, because after that, we're gonna have a bigger conversation. Her eyebrows shot up. Bigger than this? Oh yeah, I said casually. We're not done. Not even close. Her jaw dropped a little. I leaned back in my chair, sipping my tea. Danielle, Families don't fall apart because of one big betrayal. They fall apart because of 1,000 small ones. Ignored. She swallowed. You've been slipping, I said gently but firmly. Little things, little digs, little assumptions, little comments. This TV situation, it wasn't random. It was the result of a pattern. She winced. But hey, I said, softening the tone. Patterns can change. People can change. You just gotta choose it. She wiped her eyes. I want to do better, she said. I swear I do. I know, I said. And that's why I'm not kicking you out of my good graces forever. Relief washed over her like a wave. But I wasn't done. Now, I said, standing up. Come on. We have somewhere to go. She blinked. Where? Now? Yes, now, I said. But the TV? We'll set it up later. Grab your coat. Why? What's happening? I opened the door. We, I said, are going to your mother's house. Her mouth fell open so dramatically it could have caught flies. My mom's? Why? I smirked. Because, sweetie, she needs to learn the same lesson you just learned. She froze in the hallway. You're not serious. Oh, I'm dead serious. She swallowed so hard I heard it. And what exactly are you going to say to her? I smiled sweetly. Nothing rude, nothing loud, nothing dramatic. I stepped outside. Just the truth. She stared at me in total horror, then followed me down the hall anyway, because she knew better than to argue now. And that's when the real story started unfolding. Danielle walked beside me down the hallway, like a kid being marched to the principal's office. Her steps were tiny, hesitant, like she was hoping the ground would crack open and swallow her before we reached the parking lot. No such luck, sweetheart. We stepped outside and she finally blurted, Can't we just call her, text her, smoke signal her, something? Nope, I said, sliding on my sunglasses like I was entering an action movie. This needs to be face to face. Danielle groaned. My mom is gonna freak out. I shrugged. That's fine. I'm not scared of other grandmas. We speak the same language. She sighed dramatically. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Not enjoying, I corrected smugly. Just appreciating the teachable moment. We got into her car, and the whole ride over, Danielle sat clenched like someone bracing for a tornado. Meanwhile, I was unbothered, sipping my water bottle, scrolling through pictures of my grandkids like I was heading to brunch. We parked in front of her mother's house, a cute little place with plastic flamingos in the yard, and a porch that hadn't seen fresh paint since Obama's first term. Danielle took a deep breath. I'll go in first and... Nope, I said, opening my door. We go in together. You created a team mess, we're doing a team cleanup. She groaned again, but followed. When her mother, Karen, yes, her name is actually Karen, opened the door, she lit up like Christmas morning. Oh, Danielle, sweetheart, why didn't you tell me you were... Then she saw me. Her face dropped like someone unplugged her soul. Oh, she said, it's you. I smiled sweetly. It's me. Karen crossed her arms so tight, her elbows almost touched. Where's the TV? She asked bluntly, eyes darting behind us. Danielle said she was bringing me a new TV for my sitting room. Danielle flinched. I stepped forward. About that, her mouth twitched. Don't tell me you brought drama into my house. No, ma'am, I said calmly. I brought clarity. She arched a brow. Same thing. I motioned to Danielle. Your daughter has something to say to you. Danielle looked like she wanted to spontaneously combust, but she took a breath. Mom, I messed up. Karen blinked. How? Danielle swallowed. The TV wasn't mine to give. Karen stiffened. Excuse me? It was a gift, Danielle said. For her birthday, from the kids. And I took it without asking and tried to give it to me, Karen finished, narrowing her eyes. Danielle nodded. Well, why does she need an $8,000 TV? Karen snapped. She's old. Her eyesight is probably half gone anyway. Danielle winced. I just stared at Karen for a moment. Ma'am, I said calmly, my eyesight is excellent. Thanks for your concern. Also, older folks deserve nice things. We're not supposed to wither in a rocking chair until the Lord calls us home. Karen scoffed. I didn't mean it like that. Oh, yes, you did, I said. And that's okay. Today's about honesty. Karen glared at her daughter. So you ruined my excitement because she wanted to keep the TV. Danielle, why didn't you just stand firm? I blinked. Stand firm on stealing? I asked. It wasn't stealing. Karen snapped. It's family. No, I said, voice sharper now. It was stealing. Gift-taking, boundary-breaking, whatever label helps you sleep at night, same results. Karen huffed loudly and stomped toward the kitchen, yelling, I'm not having this conversation. I followed her, slow and steady, like a grandma Terminator. Danielle whispered behind me, Oh God, oh God, oh God. Karen swung around at the counter. Why are you in my kitchen? Because, I said, leaning against the fridge, you needed to hear the same thing your daughter needed. Karen opened her mouth, ready to spit fire. I held up a hand. Let me finish. Shockingly, she did. You raised a woman who just walked into someone's home, took a birthday gift meant for them, and justified it as you don't need it. That mindset didn't appear out of thin air. Karen blinked, offended. You taught her, I said simply. The room went quiet. Danielle's head dropped. Karen stuttered. I didn't. That's not. It's okay, I said gently. We all pass down bad habits. The trick is recognizing them. Karen's face softened. Not much, but enough. Danielle, I continued, turning to her daughter. Tell her the rest. Danielle took a shaky breath. I told her I was sorry. And, I said, and that I owe the kids an apology too. Karen's head snapped toward her. For what? They're children. They won't care. They do care, I said firmly. They saw everything. Karen flinched at that. Grandmother pride activated. Danielle continued softly. And I need to start treating her with more respect. Karen narrowed her eyes. You're apologizing to her? Yes, Danielle said. Because I crossed a line. Karen folded her arms again. And you're doing all this? Why? Danielle looked right at me. Because I want to be better than this. And for the first time that day, I saw honesty in her eyes. Real honesty. Karen looked between the two of us. Me, calm but unshakable, and her daughter, wilted but truthful. And then Karen did something surprising. She sighed. You're right, she grumbled, both of you. I shouldn't have encouraged it. Danielle's jaw dropped. Mine didn't, but only because I've seen miracles before. Karen cleared her throat awkwardly. Keep your TV, she muttered. Enjoy it. You earned it. I smiled warmly. Karen never apologizes. According to Danielle, she thinks the concept of being wrong is optional. But she did it. Maybe life still had one or two plot twists left for all of us. We headed back toward the door, and Karen called out. "And hey," we turned, "when you get that fancy TV set up, let me know. I want to come watch a movie." I grinned. "You bring snacks? I'll pick the movie." And just like that, the storm broke. By the time Danielle and I pulled back into my driveway, she looked like she'd aged 10 years in one afternoon. Meanwhile, I stepped out of the car feeling 20 pounds lighter. Like I'd just completed the emotional Olympics and came home with gold. We walked inside, and the first thing I saw was my grandkids' giant TV box still sitting in my living room. Safe, untouched, waiting for me. Danielle paused behind me. "Do you still want me to set it up?" I turned around slowly. "You good with tools?" She scoffed. "Girl, no, but I can hold stuff and pretend." I laughed. "That's fair. Go get the scissors." She actually smiled a little, just a tiny one, but it was progress. We opened the box together, and I swear it felt like Christmas. All that shiny protective plastic, the fresh screen smell, the instruction manual thicker than my church hymnal. Good stuff. While we worked, Danielle cleared her throat. "So, thanks," she muttered, "for not yelling at me, or throwing something, or calling me names." I shrugged. "Baby, if I wanted to call you names, I had enough material to last me till next Easter. But yelling doesn't fix people. Consequences do." She swallowed. "Yeah, I deserved consequences." "Yep," I said. "But more importantly, you handled them. That's what matters." We snapped the last piece into place, and she stepped back to admire the screen. "Dang," she said under her breath. "This thing is huge." "You were going to give this to your mother," I reminded her. Danielle groaned, covering her face. "Don't remind me. I want to crawl into a hamster ball and roll away." I laughed so hard I almost fell over. We plugged everything in, and the TV flickered to life with that brand new glow that only expensive electronics have. Danielle let out a low whistle. "You gonna call the kids?" she asked. "Already did," I said. "They're coming over tonight." Her shoulders tensed. "Are they mad at me?" "Not mad," I said. "But they want to talk to you." She nodded slowly. "I'll talk to them. I owe them that." I rested a hand on her shoulder. "And Danielle?" She looked up. "Don't overthink it. Kids forgive quicker than adults. They just need honesty." A tiny smile tugged at her lips. "I can do honest." Later that evening, my grandkids burst through the door like a pack of sugar-powered tornadoes. "Nana, did you like it? Did you see it? Did you open it without us? Wait, where's Mom?" Danielle peeked out from the kitchen like a scared raccoon. Hi." The kids froze. Then all their little arms crossed at the same time. It was adorable and terrifying. The oldest, 7-year-old Malik, narrowed his eyes like a mini detective. "Mommy, why did you take Nana's TV?" Danielle inhaled so sharply, I thought she swallowed a whole lung. "I made a mistake," she said softly. "A really big one." The kids stared. "I took something that wasn't mine," she continued, "and that was wrong. I'm sorry. I promise I'll never do it again." The youngest, 3-year-old Layla, nodded like a wise old monk and said, "Okay, Mommy, don't be mean again." Danielle choked on a laugh. "I won't, baby." The kids immediately forgave her, as predicted, and ran to the TV like puppies seeing a new chew toy. Danielle leaned toward me. "They didn't yell. They're kids, I said. They just needed to hear the truth. She let out the breath she'd been holding since yesterday. Around 8 p.m., there was a knock at the door. Danielle froze. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. It's fine, I said, heading over. I opened the door, and there stood Karen, holding 2 giant bags of movie snacks. I blinked. Oh, you're early. She cleared her throat. I didn't want to lose my courage by waiting. I snorted. Honest, I like it. She handed me the bags. I brought popcorn and licorice and those chocolate-covered almonds you like. Those are my favorite, I said. I know, she replied quietly. Danielle peeked from behind the couch. Moom, what are you doing here? Karen shrugged. Trying to fix things before I get old and cranky. You're already old and cranky, Danielle muttered. Karen shot her a glare. And whose fault is that? I stepped aside and motioned her in. Come on then, join us. The kids cheered when they saw her. Grandma Karen! And immediately showed her the new TV, like she hadn't almost been the one to receive it wrongfully. Kids are wild. We all sat down, turned off the lights, and picked a movie. Karen insisted on an action flick. Danielle wanted a comedy. The kids wanted a cartoon. I was just happy nobody was arguing over stolen electronics. While the opening credits rolled, Karen leaned closer and whispered, You really handled me today. I handle everyone, I whispered back. It's my superpower. She chuckled. Well, thank you for not embarrassing my daughter or me. I don't need to embarrass anyone, I said. Life does that on its own. She snorted way too loudly, and Danielle shushed us like a school librarian. Halfway through the movie, Layla climbed onto my lap. Malik sat beside Karen, and even Danielle relaxed into the couch with a blanket over her legs. And for the first time in a long, long while, our family felt whole. No fights, no snarky comments, no drama. Just popcorn, a giant screen, and the weird comfort of knowing we'd survived something messy, and somehow came out better on the other side. By the time the movie ended, Karen had fallen asleep, sitting upright like a retired soldier. Danielle was wiping popcorn crumbs off her shirt, and the kids were knocked out on the floor in a pile of blankets. I looked around the room, smiled, and whispered to myself, Yep, this TV was worth every single dollar. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of tiny footsteps tiptoeing down the hallway, aka the not-so-stealthy march of grandkids trying to quietly raid the kitchen. I rolled out of bed, stretched like a creaky old door hinge, and wandered toward the smell of chaos. What I found made me stop mid-step. Karen, yes, that Karen, was standing at my stove, hair in a messy bun, wearing my floral apron, flipping pancakes like she owned the place. Danielle sat at the counter sipping coffee with a towel on her head, looking like she just barely survived parenting. The kids were on the floor arguing about syrup flavors, and for a whole 2 seconds, I thought I'd stepped into the wrong house. Danielle looked up first. Oh, morning, Mama. Karen turned around. Good morning, Martha. I blinked. Are y'all living here now? Karen snorted. Only until I figure out why your coffee pot hates me. Danielle elbowed her. Mom, stop bullying the coffee pot. I shook my head, smiling. Well, breakfast looks good. Smells even better. Karen flipped another pancake. It better. I woke up at 6 a.m. for this. Your grandkids threatened to riot. The three little gremlins nodded aggressively. I grabbed a plate and joined them. And for the first time in years, brunch actually felt like a family event. Not forced, not awkward, not full of hidden resentment. Just noisy, warm, real. Halfway through breakfast, Danielle cleared her throat. So, I've been thinking. That never ends well, Karen muttered. Danielle flicked a piece of pancake at her. I've been thinking, she repeated louder, that maybe we should throw Nana a proper birthday party. The kids gasped, like someone dropped a plot twist on a soap opera. I paused mid-bite. Baby, you don't have to. No, we want to, she said quickly. I mean, you deserve it. And the kids want to celebrate you. Plus, she glanced at Karen, we kinda owe you a do-over after everything. Karen nodded solemnly. A big one. I laughed. Well, before I could answer, the whole story spilled out of him like a broken vending machine. Mom, Danielle called me crying. Then her mom called me crying. Then the kids called me crying. But I was in a meeting. Then I got 12 missed calls from Mom again. Karen raised her hand. In my defense, your voicemail is rude. Danielle smacked her forehead. Jacob dropped onto the couch. So let me get this straight, he said. You almost lost a TV, gained emotional trauma, hosted a sleepover, and made pancakes, all in one day? I shrugged. Pretty much, yeah. He rubbed his temples. I leave for 2 days, and y'all turn into a Netflix series. Karen pointed at the TV. At least now we can watch Netflix in style. Jacob stood up, walked over to the TV, stared at it for a long moment, and exhaled deeply. Mom, I'm sorry. I looked at him confused. For what? For not stopping all this sooner, he said quietly. I should have listened more. I should have paid attention. I should have protected you from all this mess. Danielle looked at her husband with wide eyes, clearly surprised. He continued, I love my wife, and I love my kids, but I ignored how much pressure everything put on you. I got too comfortable letting you handle everything. I placed a hand on his cheek. Honey, I don't need protecting. I just need respect. And you'll have it, he said firmly. Karen sniffed dramatically. Oh, Lord, someone hand me a tissue. This family's getting soft. I threw her a napkin, and she caught it one-handed, like a baseball pro. After lunch, Jacob pulled out a folder and placed it in front of me. What's that? I asked. A proposal, he said. I narrowed my eyes. Boy, if you're asking me for money. No, he said quickly. No, Mom. It's for you. Danielle leaned over, curious. Jacob explained. You've been helping everyone for years. Babysitting, cooking, giving rides, making holidays happen, helping us buy the house. And honestly, we've taken advantage of your kindness without meaning to. He opened the folder. Inside was a printed schedule, notes, and a whole plan. We want to start helping you, he said, not the other way around. We're setting up weekly check-ins, shared groceries, actual boundaries, and, if you want, we'll even help you renovate the house. I stared at him, then at Danielle, then at Karen, who threw her hands up like a referee. Don't look at me. I didn't know about this. My eyes welled up. Not tears of sadness, not anger, just relief. For the first time in Decades. Someone realized I existed outside of chores, advice, and emergency babysitting. I wiped my cheek. Oh, damn, I said. Y'all grew up today. The kids wanted a unicorn cake, fireworks, matching shirts, a clown, a petting zoo. Danielle wanted something classy, something affordable, something that didn't involve livestock. Karen wanted champagne, loud music, and a male stripper for the culture. Jacob said, absolutely not. I sipped my lemonade, watching the chaos unfold. And for the first time in a long time, it wasn't the exhausting kind of chaos. It was the kind that felt like home. The week leading up to my real birthday party turned my quiet little house into a full-blown construction zone mixed with a circus audition. Everybody had a plan, everybody had an opinion, and apparently everybody had decided my birthday is suddenly the event of the year. And honestly, I kinda loved it. For once, the chaos wasn't dumped on me. They were doing it for me. Jacob was in the backyard, sweating like a mechanic in July, trying to hang string lights without falling off the ladder. Every 10 minutes, Danielle would yell, "Be careful!" And every 10 minutes, he'd yell back, "I am!" Spoiler, he was not. Inside the house, Karen, God bless her insane energy, had turned my living room into a DIY party headquarters. Glitter, ribbon, balloons, confetti, and what looked suspiciously like a disco ball were scattered across every inch. I raised an eyebrow when I walked in. Karen, are we throwing a birthday party or hosting Coachella? She popped her head up from behind the couch. Girl, trust the process. Meanwhile, the grandkids were arguing about who got to make my birthday card. The youngest tried to glue macaroni to everything, the dog included. By the time evening hit, I was exhausted just watching them. But it was the good kind of tired, the kind that makes you feel like you're part of something. And that's when I realized this was the first time my family had ever gone all out for me. Yes, us, temporarily, she said, dragging me away from the window like I was about to commit a federal crime. Karen came out of the kitchen holding a tray of mini quiches. Martha, babe, don't freak out, but I made these from scratch. I gasped. You cooked? By yourself? With fire? Yes, ma'am, and only burnt too. I placed a dramatic hand over my heart. I'm so proud. Around 4 p.m., Jacob led me outside with his hands over my eyes, like this was some HGTV renovation show. When he finally uncovered them, I just froze. My backyard looked magical. String lights, lanterns, a photo wall with pictures of me from every decade, a long table covered with gorgeous dishes, a cake that probably cost more than my first car, and a giant sign the kids painted that said, "Happy birthday, Super Nana." I felt my throat tighten. Not the sad kind. The, my family really did this for me kind. Everyone yelled, "Surprise!" And for the first time in many, many birthdays, I actually felt celebrated. While everyone was eating and laughing, a familiar car pulled up. I squinted, and out stepped my daughter-in-law's mother, the one who almost left with my $8,000 TV. She looked nervous, way too nervous for someone who once tried to rob me lightly. Danielle hurried up to me. Mom, before you freak out, she wanted to apologize. She insisted on coming. Oh, Lord. I braced myself. She approached slowly, clutching a small gift bag like it was a peace treaty. "Martha, may I speak with you?" Everyone else backed up like the air suddenly got spicy. I nodded. "Go ahead." She took a deep breath. "I'm sorry. Truly. I shouldn't have tried to take the TV. I shouldn't have talked down to you. I shouldn't have assumed your things were negotiable." Her voice trembled. "I raised my daughter to respect people, but I didn't show that to you. And that's on me." The whole backyard went dead silent. I crossed my arms, not angry, just firm. "Why now?" She swallowed. "Because Danielle told me everything that happened. She told me how the kids love you, how much you do for them, and how I made you feel. And she told me you stood up for yourself in a way I never expected. You didn't yell, you didn't fight, you simply drew a line. And I realized I crossed it." She held out the small gift bag. "I know this doesn't fix everything, but I want to start fresh, with respect this time." I opened the bag. Inside was a framed photo. A photo of me with all my grandkids, one Danielle must have taken months ago. My chest tightened again, but in a soft, warm way. I looked at her, really looked at her, and realized something. People can change, if they actually want to. I nodded slowly. "All right, fresh start." The kids cheered like they just witnessed the season finale of their favorite show. Karen dragged me onto the dance floor. Danielle forced Jacob into a group photo session he absolutely hated. The kids covered everyone in glitter. Someone put on a 90s playlist, and my hips started working like I was 25 again. We ate, laughed, danced, told stories, and for once, I wasn't the one fixing problems. I wasn't the one being used. I wasn't the one overlooked. I was the center of the room, loved, respected, celebrated. It felt good. Damn good. After everyone left, Danielle hugged me tight. "Mom, happy birthday. Really." Jacob kissed my forehead. "We'll do better, I promise." Karen yelled from the driveway, "Next year we're renting a yacht!" I nearly choked. "Girl, I can't even swim." And just like that, the whole messy, loud, dramatic day ended with laughter. Not pain, not disrespect, not disappointment, just love.